Now it's time for a little fantasy football. We got our guy D Nasty back. Dave, how the heck you doing, my man? Just got done coaching, huh?
Yeah, just got done coaching softball, but I'm back from the Packer game on Sunday Night Football, baby. It was a great game. Packers destroyed the Bears.
Wait a minute, what?
Very happy.
They played each other?
Yeah, I think so. You must have
I
missed
didn't even
that
know
game,
that.
huh?
I forgot about it. I didn't even think about it today. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting game. It was kind of boring, but not nearly as boring as this. Well, I suppose if you're a Bills fan and you're there, you're freaking partying your ass off because it's like 41-7 right now. But it's not a game,
Yeah.
and that's why I put the Bills background here. I love the Bills. They're my adopted team this year, and they're just partying. It just looks so fun right now in Buffalo, and they're good. They're just so good right now. But they are getting injured a little bit. Their secondary's a little bit banged up. They're one of their guys named Dane. I forgot his last name. Yeah, I think so. He really hurt his neck. I hope he's okay. But it looks like he's moving according to the Schefter tweet here. And so that's good news. Dane Jackson, yeah, cornerback. So hopefully he's not going to be out too long because they still have White still not playing and stuff like that, and just obviously for more important reasons. But yeah, not a great game in Philly either because they're beating the Vikings pretty handily, like 24-7 too. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it doesn't really bode too well for the fact that the Packers lost to them.
I know.
Yeah, you know what's so funny? There's so many divisions that are bad. I mean, the Jaguars are in first place in the AFC South. The NFC East looks really bad with the Cowboys beat up right now. Maybe the
Giants
Eagles are really good.
Giants 2-0.
2-0, but who'd they play? Carolina. Yeah,
It's surprising. It'll level out as the season goes on.
The AFC North is looking pretty bad with Cincinnati 0-2. They've never even had a lead this whole time. They never had a lead. Pittsburgh looks, bad losing the Patriots like that. And yeah, the Ravens, I guess, are the best team, but they just got caught up on old Tua. My dynasty guy finally came through. I finally got the best quarterback of that draft. Sorry, Herbert. It's Tua. Burrow wasn't drafted that year, was he?
I'm trying to think. I don't think he was.
Yeah. So it was between those two. I thought there was one other one in front of him. Was it Trevor Lawrence?
I think Trevor Lawrence was that year, yeah.
Maybe it was Trevor Lawrence. Okay. Well, either way, pretty happy with that, and we'll talk about that here. Getting into fantasy football week 3. We have key injuries, Dave. I'll get started with key injuries.
Sounds good.
I have Justin Herbert, torn cartilage in his ribs. He could play. He's going to have 10 days rest. I put week to week. I've had bruised ribs before, and it was freaking painful. Every time you take a little bit more than an average breath, you're hurting. I'm serious. It's really painful. And I could see him missing next game against the Jaguars, so that's interesting. Obviously, Trey Lance tearing his Achilles. Everyone saw that. That's really bad. And he had surgery. Everything's looking good, but the kid's out again. He didn't play last year. He didn't play his last year in college. He's out this year. Pretty brutal for him. Running back James Conner sprained his ankle, but I call him day-to-day from the reports, Dave. I don't know if you had anything more concrete on that.
No, that's all I'm hearing right now, too, as well as day-to-day.
Okay. Jerry Jeudy hurt his shoulder, and some say his ribs. I've heard both, really, and I'm going to put day-to-day for him, too. It doesn't look too bad. I think he plays next week, but we'll see. Tight end Tyler Kroft hurt his knee for the 49ers, but Kittle might be back next week. So that'd be good news for him, for the Niners and Jimmy G. Tight end wide receiver Mike Evans suspended one game. That's pretty brutal. For the way that Cowboys are losing receivers now, he's going to appeal. So I wonder if he plays this week against the Packers. Ooh, I hope so.
I'm hoping he's out.
I hope he plays. Chris Godwin might still be out. Julio Jones might still be out. It was a little surprising Julio missed. I didn't know he was that banged up. So did I cover everything, or do you have some more?
Dalton Schultz, game-winning drive. He sat with a right knee injury. Jacoby Brissett said post-game he's dealing with an ankle injury. That's really it. And then the Trey Lance one is the major one. Other than that, there's nothing really else out there. Just a couple defensive people that Sean Lattimore, he's going to be suspended as well. He's an IDP guy. He might be starting out there. And then Dre Greenlaw just agreed on a 2-year extension, so he's going to be locked up for the 49ers for the foreseeable future. And then Devin Dumver was placed on concussion protocol after he left the game. He might be someone that some people might be starting.
Duvernay?
Yep.
Okay.
He's in concussion protocol right now. But other than that, yeah, you hit all the key ones, so definitely.
Okay, cool. Why don't you start with the waiver wire?
All right, great. Well, the waiver wire this week, number one on the list is definitely going to be Jimmy G. That was a good move by the 49ers to keep him. He's definitely going to be at the top of everyone's list. Especially, he might even be on some waivers. He's only 4% owned right now in a lot of leagues. So definitely scoop him up. Justin Fields, didn't look very good against the Packers this past week. My boy Jair, that pick at the end was very nice. He had an awesome play on that. But I think Fields has some nice matchups. He can definitely be a streamer next week against the Houston Texans. If he's only a little bit over 50% owned. But most of the Geno Smith, only 6%. He's playing Atlanta next week. He struggled a little bit this week, but it is Atlanta that he's playing next week, so definitely a good matchup for him. Raheem Mostert, your boy, he's coming back from a couple of years ago. He's coming back for you, Kiev. 43% owned, but he looked like he was the main guy this past week for the Dolphins. He had 11 carries and he had 3 targets in week 2. He had 79 total yards, so he might be taking over that lead back position possibly.
Don't worry, he'll get hurt next week, right, Dave?
He probably will. Never been very high on him. But the guy you definitely want to grab is Darrell Williams and Benjamin. Darrell Williams looked good filling in for James Conner when he went out. James Conner does have a history of injuries in the past. They both, Williams and Benjamin, both logged snap rates at 46% and 43% respectively. So they're definitely sharing those carries. They saw 8 carries apiece. Williams did do a lot more with his attempts, still rushing for 59 yards compared to Benjamin's 31. So it's really hard to say who's going to be the lead guy there if Connor is out. But I think I'm definitely leaning toward Darrell Williams, I think, in that backfield there. So definitely grab him if possible. Jerick McKinnon, he's actually been getting a lot of carries actually for the Chiefs, only 6% owned right now. He's a sneaky guy to pick up if no one has him. He got a touchdown this past week as well, and he's gotten 6 touches compared to CEH, Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's 12. So,
Dave, can I ask you something about the Chiefs? And something I was thinking about today. I feel like it's wide receiver hell in that place right now. I mean, Mecole Hardman had most of them last week. Juju Smith-Schuster scored 2 fantasy points. Yeah, and you just don't know where he's going to spread it out to. I think the only consistency is Kelsey right now.
Yeah, that's the only guy you can depend on that, and that wide receivers corp right now. But yeah, like I said, McKinnon, I like though. He's now played 39% and 7% of the snaps. So he's almost played 50% of the snaps the last couple of weeks, and he got 3 red zone touches as well. So definitely a guy you want to keep an eye on. Definitely a waiver wire possible pickup. Garrett Wilson had himself a game this week. Definitely a guy you want to take a look at. He had 102 yards and 2 tutties. So definitely pick him up if he's still out there. Only 22% owned in a lot of leagues. Jahan Dotson, we went over last week. Definitely he scored again this week, though. Just keep him on your radar if he is still out there. And then Gerald Everett, we talked about last week, so I'm not going over that. But what do you got, Kiev?
The same, really. Definitely Garrett Wilson, man. 154 yards, 2 TDs. Logan Thomas, if he's on some leagues' benches for sure. Or sorry, on waivers even. Like he's not owned in a lot. He had a good game. Russell Gage, that's the next level. Russell Gage might have to be picked up though if he's not owned. So just because of all those Tampa injuries, I have Flacco, and I think we mentioned him. Jacoby Brissett's looking okay. He's looking kind of like a Teddy Bridgewater did a little bit last year, almost like that guy that's pretty safe, low ceiling, a little bit high of a floor, I would say. Good for 12 points, maybe a week or something like that. So pretty much same. Yeah, I think you nailed them all, my man. And I added Raheem Mostert. And I was trying to figure out Darrell Williams or Eno Benjamin. And who do you cuff Connor with? But I think both of them are going to split, like you said. So
yeah, I think I lean probably Darrell Williams, but it's really hard to say though. But yeah, either you probably can't go on with either one right now.
Let's go to players trending up for week 3, non-starters. So Adam Thielen's not really a starter, but I like his matchup against the Lions next week. He's not doing anything tonight, but I figure that they should be blanketing Jefferson. So I kind of like him next week. Allen Robinson versus the horrible Cardinals D. He's caught a touchdown last week, which was great, and would have had two of them if it wasn't for a penalty. So thought that was he could be a sneaky start this week. Cam Akers, I think he's getting some love now. He was played a lot more last week under Sean McVay. And so
I think he's just getting healthy too. I think he's just a little bit banged up too. So I think he's starting to finally get healthy too, which helps.
Exactly. So I expect more out of him. He's a little speedier one, I believe, too. And I have really, I already said Russell Gage versus the Packers, just because you don't know which receivers are going to start for Tampa, and if Julio's still out, if Evans sits that suspension, if Godwin's still out, he's got to throw the ball somewhere. So I kind of like a couple guys. I like Scotty Miller as well. He might get that massive touchdown list like before, Dave, in that playoff game.
Yeah, remind me.
Screw it up for the Packers in Lambeau, baby. Scotty Miller could be a big pickup this week. Robert Woods against the Raiders D. I kind of like him. The Titans, are going to try to do something big after an embarrassing showing last week or tonight, really. Cameron Brate, he's another guy. Maybe Brady trusts Brate over, the second round receivers, the second string receivers, I should say. So I like him. Running back Dameon Pierce versus Chicago's bad run D is trending up. Chicago was bleeding yards the last two games against San Fran and against Green Bay. So I think Dameon Pierce could have a good game against the Bears. On the opposite side of the spectrum, Justin Fields. I think, he's getting a lot of crap for only completing like 15, 14 or so passes the last two games combined. Now, one was a rainstorm, torrential downpour. But, he's doing a lot of stuff with his legs. So he could be real safe against the bad Texans team.
And he only got 11 pass attempts this past week. I was checking the box score after the game. Only 7 for 11. They only let him pass 11 times, which is kind of crazy.
Which is really weird when you're down. You figure you're going to have at least 20. I think something's got to change there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're ever going to start Fields, you got to start him at home against the Texans. I mean, otherwise you're never starting him anyway. Running back J.D. McKissick versus the Eagles will get some points. The Eagles' run D hasn't been great. But if they go up by a lot, it's good for them because the offense gets one-dimensional. So I'll just mention that. That's my non-starters trending up, Dave. Who do you have?
All right, I got a couple here that I like. I like the Justin Fields one. Definitely like that one. Dameon Pierce too. I like that one. I think he's up and coming rookie. I do like that one. For the Chiefs, I like Jerick McKinnon, who we just talked about. I like him against the Colts. I know the Colts have a pretty good defense, but they haven't looked good the past couple of weeks. So their defense hasn't really looked good either. So I like Jerick McKinnon as a guy you normally won't start, but I definitely would look at plugging him in possibly. Just like the matchup for him. Chargers Jordan Palmer with Keenan Allen still out. He had a nice game, and they were going to him quite a bit. Even if Justin is out this week, I still like him because he's still going to be a starter this week. Austin Dolan for the Indianapolis Colts. He could be the starter again this week if Michael Pittman is out. We didn't talk about him on the waiver wire pickups, but he's a sneaky guy, and Paris Campbell too. So those two guys, they were the starters this week with Michael Pittman.
Paris got nothing last week, 0 goose egg.
Yeah. But they're playing the Chiefs, though. The Chiefs have been on and off for defense, and their secondary is decent. But I definitely think Colts are going to have to bounce back sooner or later. They can't keep playing like they are right now. So those are two guys that will be starters, and they will get some looks and targets for sure. So those guys are definitely trending up because they're going to be starting. Dolan actually had a decent game. Like you said, Campbell didn't really impress me this week. But those are guys you can kind of get on your radar, though. And like Jordan Palmer with the Chargers. He looked pretty good this past week. He was definitely a go-to guy. Dortch for the Cardinals. People haven't really been sleeping on him, but he's had 2 good weeks, week 1 and week 2. He's been getting a lot of targets, and he's been putting up some numbers too. So he's a guy you don't want to sleep on either. A lot of guys planning on starting him right now, but definitely Greg Dortch for the Cardinals. If he's on the waiver wires, we talked about him last week, but he's still out there. Definitely grab him. He scored again this week, so they're going to him, and that's one of the receivers now with Moore out and Hopkins out. That's one of the receivers they've been going to.
Can we call him Dortch the Torch?
Exactly. So the Buccaneers do have a good run defense, but Alan Lazard was back this week. He's still a little bit banged up, but I like him as a guy trending up, possibly get the Buccaneers. They don't have that good of a pass defense, so I like Lazard to maybe surprise this week. And I'm going Jimmy G. I like his matchups this week. I think Jimmy G has a good game, and Sterling Shepard. He's been looking good the past couple of weeks. The Dallas Cowboys played better on defense this past week, but there's the secondary is still a little suspect for them.
Yeah, I can see Jimmy G being a starter this rest of this year.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? Yeah. Good stuff, Dave. I agree with all that. What about the bus?
All right. A couple of the busts that I do not like this week.
And Cousins just threw an interception, by the way. Typical Cousins, Monday Night Football.
And Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is definitely on my do not start the week this week. He's one of my busts. He had 5 turnovers in just the fourth quarter to blow that game for the Saints. He's definitely on my bust list this week. Mitch Trubisky's my bust list this week. Browns actually have a decent defense. They're a little underrated, I think. Mitch Trubisky's on my bust list this week. Colts, Matt Ryan, he's killing me, man. I got him in 2 of my dynasty leagues. I traded for Tua and benched Tua in favor of Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is going to be my bust list this week against the Chiefs. I'm not starting him again this week. Definitely don't like that matchup. Jared Goff against the Vikings. Vikings are looking good tonight, but I don't like Goff against the Vikings. I think the Vikings rebound and play better next week. A couple other ones here that I do not like. I do not like Aaron Jones. I'm definitely downgrading him against that tough Buccaneers run defense. I think you still got to start him, but I don't think you can expect like what he did this week. Maybe 40, 50 yards, maybe a lucky touchdown, a receiving, a rushing touchdown possibly, but he's not going to have the value like he has previously. Same with Christian McCaffrey. Panthers have been struggling on offense, and they're playing one of the tougher run Ds in the Saints. So definitely downgrading him. You probably still want to start him, of course, because he's a top 3 fantasy running back. But
I don't think so, Dave. You remember how I had him busting all year? He's not done. Wait, does he even have a touchdown yet?
No.
Yeah.
So I'm busting him this week definitely against the Saints D. So I'm agreeing with you on that one, Kiev. Man, I don't like him this week. So definitely a bust this week. One I forgot that I do like this week on trending up was Drake London for the Falcons. They're playing the Seahawks, who haven't been playing like with Jamal Adams out too. I like Drake London actually for them.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
So
and then that makes sense.
Trending down, it's going to be Jeff Wilson. I don't like him against the Broncos. I think the Broncos have a pretty tough run defense too, so I'm downgrading him. And then Daniel Jones. I think Cowboys they're playing at New York though, but I don't like Daniel Jones against the Cowboys defense. The Cowboys still have a very good defense.
Right. You know, it's funny. It's like people play DFS. This is all stuff that really matters because we're just finding out little matchup queries here that people could have a great game. I always look for bad run Ds against some of these guys that you're not starting anyway, and you get them cheap on the DFS. Less salary for these guys, so I think it's really important to look at them. No, I agree with that. I have Chase Edmonds versus Buffalo's D, and that's a bust right there for sure. And Melvin Gordon versus San Francisco's D. I don't like him. Probably got to start Javonte Williams, but I don't think I'm starting Melvin Gordon unless I'm super desperate. I added Aaron Jones and McCaffrey. Russell Wilson's even a little suspect here against San Fran's D. That Nathaniel Hackett's looking bad right now in Denver.
Yeah, he's not getting it done there.
Oh, it's bad.
He's got the weapons too, man. He's going to be on the hot seat before the end of the year. Too long if he keeps this up.
That's true. Jameis Winston's a little suspect. Carolina's D is actually pretty good at home. I can see just an ugly game here.
What do you think of Mark Ingram? We forgot to mention him in our pickups too. With Kamara, Mark Ingram got a lot of the carries.
Is he going to be out? Is he going to be out again though? Kamara?
That's the thing. He's got like a similar injury, I think, with the ribs too. Or I think is what his injury was. So he could be back this week. But if not, keep an eye on Mark Ingram this week. So we forgot to mention him as well.
Yeah, we probably should have put him in the. He was kind of surprising to me that he wasn't going to play. I didn't know that last Monday.
Yeah, that was a late scratch actually.
Yeah. So I had that. I agree with all that. Let's move on to our nasty sleeper of the week, Dave. Who do you got that's going to win our fantasy football league for us?
I'm going Drake London. I mentioned him as one of the guys I have trending up. I'm going Drake London. He had over 87 yards and a touchdown this past week. He's the main guy for the Falcons. Falcons could get their first win this week, and I think he's going to be a key contributor to that first win.
Nice. I'm going to go with Robert Woods, and he's going to take the Raiders to the woodshed this week and take care of business. I'm not sure what he's doing tonight versus the Bills. Losing 41-7, that can't be that good. Yeah, he 5 targets, 4 receptions, 39 yards. Not great, but that's Buffalo. Now he's going to be playing against the Raiders. Much better matchup. I like
I
Robert
agree.
Woods.
No, I like that. I like that one.
Yeah. So I think that's my sleeper. And good luck, everyone, on your fantasy. Anything else, Dave?
No, I think that's it. Good luck, everyone, in your fantasy leagues, and make sure a couple weeks here we'll also have buys start coming up. But make sure you get out there and work that waiver wire.
My friends, if you have any other questions of fantasy football, feel free to tweet us at the Oddsbreakers. Have a great rest of your week and go get some winners.